Because you need that, because I don't want anybody falling asleep. If I see anybody falling asleep, I'm going to raise the volume. Alright? So you don't want anybody falling asleep. So, thanks for inviting me back, by the way. I appreciate it. I really had a lot of things happening tonight, so I kind of ran over here. And I got here a little too early, and then I felt guilty because Harry Leela is watching me up there, and he's thinking, oh, Jivanath's here, like finish stuff. So I thought I'll just sneak out and go home, let him finish, because he was doing good, right? He's really an educated, wonderful devotee. And now you have me. Sorry, I apologize, but here I am. So tonight I just wanted to tell a few stories. And I'll start with the personal side. I told you how I became a devotee last time, right? Yeah. So this is one of the hard things when you're getting older. I've spoke to about 5 different groups in the last 3 days, and I should keep count and write it all down, but I don't do that. I go, what did I say to them the last time? But I know I didn't tell you this story, but I did tell it to somebody else. So, I have 2 personal instructions from Srila Prabhupada. 2 of them, only 2. The first one, it was at Guru Puja, the day before my initiation. Now let me get you to the initiation first. This was going to be in New York City, the scene of the first Rath Yatra in New York City. Now the Srila Prabhupada, this was special. Prabhupada said New York is the hub of the whole world. And 5th Avenue, has everybody ever heard of 5th Avenue? Yes. It's money, rich stores, banks, stocks, everything. It's just the highlight of material sense gratification. So Prabhupada wanted to have the Rath Yatra down 5th Avenue in New York City. So he asked one of his disciples, who was a very good manager, I want you to get permission to have a Rath Yatra. Now this particular devotee, he had been trying for a couple of years to get permission, and he knew there's a law against having a parade on 5th Avenue. He knew this. But Prabhupada says, Doshar Krishna, I want you to get permission. We are going to have Rath Yatra down 5th Avenue, New York City. And he's like, oh yes, Srila Prabhupada, I'll go get this permission. And he's thinking, Prabhupada's asking me to do it, I get it, but there's a law against it. How am I going to do this? But Prabhupada's asked him to do it. So he goes into this office. He says, I'd like to get the permit form for a parade down 5th Avenue. And the lady just goes, there's a law against parades on 5th Avenue. He says, yes, I know that, but spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement, has asked me to get this permission. She says, oh, well then, you might as well just go and fill out the paperwork. So he does.
You told this. I'm sorry to tell this.
I told this last time.
You told it.
Darn!
And you told the 2 things also. What? Dance.
I told him to?
Yeah. Dance is very humble.
I was hoping I didn't tell you guys that story.
But we just said anything.
Are you still smiling? Why didn't you just tell me in the beginning? All right. Hare Krishna. I just got here. This is wonderful. Nice to see so many familiar faces. Phew, that was embarrassing. I just said the thing about forgetting too. You should have anyway. All right. So, let me tell you about a wonderful quality of Srila Prabhupada. I know I didn't tell this one. Prabhupada exemplified humility. Now, he had every right not to. He starts a movement at the age of 70 that's all around the world. He had every right not to be humble. One time he was in Denmark, which is in Europe. Now, this is the first time he had ever gone to Denmark. And the devotees are seeing Srila Prabhupada for the first time. And a lot of things are happening for the first time. For the first time in Denmark, there will be an initiation. Srila Prabhupada will do a fire sacrifice. Now, imagine this. You're from Denmark. You're new to Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada says, and now we will have a fire sacrifice. You're like, what's a fire sacrifice? Does everybody here know what a fire sacrifice is?
Yes.
You do? I didn't know. And most people, when they hear this, when they're from the West, they think of some Tarzan movie where the savages are about to have a big fire and in the pot they're throwing in some sacrifice. That's what we think is a fire sacrifice. So when Prabhupada says we have to have a fire sacrifice, everyone's like, ooh, fire sacrifice. What's it involved, Srila Prabhupada? And Prabhupada gave him all the ingredients. Now, a lot of the ingredients of a fire sacrifice do not make sense. Bananas, rice, are we cooking, or what are we doing here? But anyway, when Prabhupada started to get ready for the fire sacrifice, he's sitting on his Vyasasana, and he's noticing the devotees scurrying around because they're not quite sure what to do or where to put this or what to do with this. And Prabhupada notices there are no flowers. You did not get flowers. So the devotees go, flowers? Hold on. Run outside, go to the neighbor's yard, get as many flowers as they can, come running back in. Where do we put them, Srila Prabhupada? Put them around the fire, make it pretty, decorate. And Prabhupada's starting to get agitated because things are not going so well at this fire sacrifice. Then Prabhupada says, where are the bananas? You must put bananas for fire sacrifice. Everyone initiated puts banana in the fire. Where are bananas? The devotee goes, hold on, I'll be right back. Runs in the kitchen, slices up some bananas, brings them out on a tray. And Prabhupada starts going, no, whole bananas in the fire. Oh, back into the kitchen, back out with the bananas. Now Prabhupada's getting really agitated. Nothing is going well. This is not looking good. And he starts actually getting agitated, visibly agitated. Now sitting right near Srila Prabhupada was a young man, what we would call a hippie. Long hair, peace, love, little bit of marijuana, but likes the Hare Krishnas, likes prashado, comes to the temple quite a bit. He's sitting next to Srila Prabhupada. He's looking at Srila Prabhupada, getting agitated, getting stressed. Now, every time he goes to the temple, he says, I'm having problems with this and this and this and this. And the devotees just say, chant Hare Krishna. I'm having problems with this and this and this. Chant Hare Krishna. It's always the answer. It was always the answer. Whatever it is, chant Hare Krishna. So he's watching Srila Prabhupada getting agitated, directing everybody, you do put this here, why are you not doing this? Where is this? Where is that? And then the man, he then looks at Srila Prabhupada and says, chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada reaches down and picks up his bead bag. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Apparently it worked. Because Prabhupada was like, okay. So that's Prabhupada's humility. Good advice, just take it. Chant Hare Krishna. One more fire sacrifice story that's very similar to the first one. This is the second actual fire sacrifice in the West. Now this one is in San Francisco, which is on the other side of the country from New York, where they already had a fire sacrifice. And again, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows. Prabhupada has to give them the list, some wood for fire, rice, flour, different bananas, fruits, flowers, all these things. And again, the same thing in the head. What are we doing? What is this fire sacrifice? What? Okay, Prabhupada gave us the ingredients. And somebody from New York was there and kind of helped them a little bit where how to put it and what to do with it. So there's 4 of these young men and women about to be initiated. 1968. The clothes in 1968. Nobody wore a dhoti. There weren't dhotis yet. Nobody shaved up. Wasn't happening yet. So they thought, this is a special occasion. Let's all get dressed up. One guy got a pair of pants from a tuxedo. Do you know what a tuxedo is? Like you go to the wedding, he only got the pants. That's all he could afford. He went to the store, he got the pants. Then he had a shirt that, well, it didn't match the pants. It was kind of flowery, you know, like peace and love, flowery looking. And a friend of his had a tie. Didn't match the shirt, which didn't match the pants. But he thought he looked pretty good. He actually combed his hair for the first time in a long time. He thought he looked pretty good. Now his girlfriend was about to be initiated as well. And all she had was really hippie clothing. So what to do? She borrowed one of his big shirts and wore it like a dress. And she thought she looked pretty good too. So there's 4 of them at the fire sacrifice. Now, this is the first fire sacrifice almost every single person in San Francisco had ever seen. It's very unique. It's in a very small room. In the middle of the room, they had a fire going in the middle of a very small apartment. Imagine that, a fire in the middle of this apartment. And Prabhupada, after explaining how to make ghee, was ladling the ghee in the fire. And the fire's going rising up. It's getting very hot because this is a really small room. The guy with the tie, he can't take it anymore. He starts loosening this tie. Like, this is really getting hot. Now Prabhupada is giving instructions as he's doing the fire sacrifice. He says, I will say these mantras, and when you hear the words, Svaha, I'll do it again. You have to wait. Prabhupada says, when I say the words, Svaha, you respond and take your rice and throw it. And all 4 of them like, okay. So Prabhupada continues with the mantras. It's coming up to that crucial point. The fire is blazing up. It's getting really hot in there. And Prabhupada says, Svaha. And the 4 devotees take their rice and throw it right at Srila Prabhupada. Now, because it's so hot, Prabhupada's spitting, and the rice sticks to his face. It's all over his head. It's stuck on his arms. It's basically everywhere. Prabhupada just looks at the floor and says, in the fire. What do they know? This is brand new to everybody. So the fire sacrifice continues. And now comes the important part where we're going to use these bananas. So Srila Prabhupada says, now take your bananas. And they all pick up their banana and start to peel it. Just about to bite into the banana. One of them actually turns and says, I'm glad we're eating, I'm getting kind of hungry. Prabhupada says, no, in the fire. Seems like such a waste. In the fire it goes. Now the whole ceremony is just about done. Now, Prabhupada gives them names. Now, as you know, you get a really spiritual name. The first person who was initiated, his name was Hari. And Prabhupada called him Hari Das. And the other guys are like, I hope we get a spiritual name. I don't want to be Dave Das and John Das. He's Hari Das. I want a cool name. I don't want to be Sam Das. But they did get other names. They didn't know that Hari was actually, well, the name of Krishna. They thought he was just Hari Das. So they got their names. And then Srila Prabhupada said, and now remember, this is San Francisco. Prabhupada hasn't been out there. Prabhupada's Bengali. He still has a strong Bengali accent. So a lot of the times, Prabhupada would speak and everybody's go, So Prabhupada said, Bodo. They're looking at each other. Bodo. What's Bodo? Now Hari Das was there at the initiation in New York. So he nudges the other guys because he's telling us to blow down. So they get on their hands and knees. They start blowing the fire right at Srila Prabhupada. Now Prabhupada, still being so humble, so patient, so tolerant, he just says, no. Obeisances. Bow down. Oh. Obeisances. So Prabhupada, the most humble. Now, I think Hari Sari was asked last night, what quality of Prabhupada struck you as the most amazing? And it's his humility. He was so humble. It was almost like, well, like a pure devotee. How else can you be so humble? How else can you do so many amazing things and stay humble? You must be pure. You must get rid of false ego. And then you can be like Srila Prabhupada. Well, kind of. But we can endeavor. Srila Prabhupada was giving a class in 1971. Stop me if I said this the other time. I actually repeated a few things before they told me, hey, you said that the last time. You weren't here for that. Prabhupada actually was giving a class. And in the class, he said, in order to go back to Godhead, in order to have Krishna accept you back to Godhead, you must be
100%.
I said it before. Hold on, everybody. Let's check the notes. What else do I have? Darn. Aha, okay. This I didn't tell you. So, back to the very beginning. I'll stick there because I know I didn't tell these stories. I did tell that one, didn't I? That's the problem with doing these talks. I keep forgetting who I've said what to who and where. Okay. So in the very beginning, Krishna consciousness is very attractive. Hippies are coming. People are still doing different activities that they shouldn't be doing, but they don't know they shouldn't be doing because Prabhupada hasn't told anybody yet. In New York City, Prabhupada said, we will have initiations. This is the first initiation. He said, we will have initiations. Now everybody is just like talking amongst themselves. Initiations. Oh yeah, I've kind of heard that in India they do that, and you get like a cool spiritual name, and it sounds like fun. What do you think? You want to do it? Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing this initiation thing. Should we get initiation? Sure, we're doing initiation. Let's do it. And that's kind of was the mood. We're not being too serious at this point. This is 1966. This is just starting this movement. So people were just like, let me think, what day are they going to do this? A Tuesday. Let me think, am I doing anything? Well, I do have to feed the cat, but I'll be back like, okay, let's do it. I'll get initiated. And that's how it was. So Prabhupada then said, but there are a few different things you must follow. First, you must give up gambling. Everybody's like, I don't gamble. I don't have any money. How can I gamble? I can do this. I'll be a devotee. I won't gamble. So there's others. No eating of meat, fish, or eggs. And most of them were like heading in that direction anyway. Well, maybe not the eggs. I mean, eggs are, what's an egg? It's not, come on, you know, but this is what the Swamiji wants. No eating of meat, fish, and eggs. All right, I can follow that. I'll be a disciple. I'll be one of Swamiji's disciples. I'll follow these principles and let's do it. Let's do it. Then Prabhupada says, there's no intoxication. Whoa. Wait a minute. No intoxication. You mean like no heavy drugs? Prabhupada says no. No tea, coffee, cigarettes. Now at this point, the room is getting a lot lighter. But still, some remained. Wow, no tea or coffee or not even a little marijuana once in a while or a beer? Come on. That's what Swamiji wants. I really like Swamiji. I love chanting Hare Krishna. I can follow these 3 regular principles. Prabhupada says there is a 4th. Now everyone's getting nervous. The intoxication one was kind of pushing the limit. There's a 4th one? Prabhupada says no illicit sex. And everyone just heard, no sex. What do you mean, no sex? It's the 60s, free love. How do we not have sex? Heck, I'm getting ready to go have sex as soon as we're done here. No sex. It's impossible. And of course, as soon as the word no sex came out, that's it. We're out of here. Still, there was about 6 left. It went from about 30, I'll get initiated, to 6. 4 regular principles. That ain't so easy. 1966 in the West, it's kind of almost based on breaking the regular principles, where Prabhupada says, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, and no gambling. Okay, we will do this because we do like this whole Hare Krishna thing. Prabhupada says then, on your japa, on your mala, you must chant 64 rounds. That's like 10 hours of chanting every day? Yes, every day. 64 rounds. And they're all like... Prabhupada says, all right, 32 rounds. It's still like 4 hours. It's 4 hours. That means what? I have to cut out going to the coffee shop now? I can't even, what, you know, this is like serious stuff. Prabhupada then said, 16 rounds minimum. And there you have it. To become a devotee in the ISKCON society, 16 rounds, 4 regular principles. And that was it. Now one time in San Francisco, this is like a month later, Srila Prabhupada was in his room. There was this one devotee, her name was Malati. Very early on devotee. Very, very special early on devotee. Married to her husband whose name was Shyam Sundar. Now Malati one time was in what they called an Indian emporium. It sold Indian artifacts, different things from India in San Francisco, because it was kind of cool. India was like a cool place. So she was in there one time, and in the discount bin, she noticed these little dolls that were in there. Different colors, a whole bunch of them in there. And Malati didn't have any money. with her, but really wanted one of those dolls, so she just did one of these, and went back to the temple. She wanted to ask Srila Prabhupada, what's this doll? It's obviously something Indian. We don't know what it is. What is it, Srila Prabhupada? She showed Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada got down and paid his obeisances. The Malati was like, wow, what is this? She says, Prabhupada said, this is Lord Juggernaut. He has come to San Francisco. He says, where did you get this? She said, at the importing. She says, they were selling? She says, yes. He says, how much was it? She goes, well, so I kind of just put it in my pocket. He goes, oh. She says, do they have any others? She says, yeah, they had a yellow one and a white one. He says, well, get some money and go back and get them. And so they had Juggernaut, Baladev, and Subhadra. And he called San Francisco New Jagannath Puri. They had come to San Francisco. So Prabhupada said, let's do this. Let's make some deities of Juggernaut. And he asked his disciples there. Shyam Sundar, one of the first ones, the guy with the tie, was actually a carpenter. And he said, can you carve? Do you think you could carve something like this, but bigger? And he said, oh yes, Srila Prabhupada, I can do that. So he took the little dolls home. They were still called dolls. He took them home. And in his apartment, he was carving. And Prabhupada was waiting for him to finish. And Shyam Sundar knew this. So he thought, I'm going to go really slow. Because Prabhupada's staying here the whole time waiting. So he's taking his time, doing a little here, a little there. Prabhupada said, hey, how is it coming along? Oh, very good, Srila Prabhupada. Getting there, almost there, getting there. And Prabhupada's like, okay, I get what's going on. So he went to Shyam Sundar's place. And there was one completed one. Balarama was finished. He was working on Juggernaut and Subhadra, not quite finished. But on Balarama's head, Srila Prabhupada noticed in his apartment, he was alerted actually by Shyam Sundar's dog, who was sitting right next to Juggernaut. The dog was actually looking up, and Prabhupada looked as well and saw there's a pack of cigarettes on Juggernaut Balarama's head. Now Prabhupada, merciful, so patient, so tolerant, he just took his cane and went and knocked the cigarettes right off of Balarama's head. And then he just said, you know, Shyam Sundar, these cigarettes are a nasty habit. Now Shyam Sundar's already following most of the principles. He wasn't initiated yet actually, he was still Sam. And he said, you should just try to decrease one cigarette at a time. If you smoke 2, then smoke 1. If you smoke 3 in the week, smoke 2. Until this pack is gone. And he did that. He gave them up. So, Prabhupada, most merciful. Most merciful. And you can see, just by people like me, what the heck am I doing here? In Mayapur, talking to you about Vedic culture. That was Prabhupada. That's Prabhupada's mercy. He's sparing all of us all around the world. One time, Prabhupada was in Bombay, and he was speaking to a very rich group of businessmen. Very well-to-do. Very well-educated. And this one man wanted Srila Prabhupada to read his palm. As if Prabhupada's like a palm reader. Because he's a extra special guru. You know, he can see the future. So please, Swamiji, read my palm. And Prabhupada's just answering other questions, talking. This man, he wouldn't stop. He's saying, Swamiji, please, read my palm. He asked 3 times, and Prabhupada says, all right then. Took his hand, looked at him, and the man pulled his hand back. Uh-oh, what's he going to say? Prabhupada says, I see only bad things. The guy's freaking out. He says, I see birth, death, old age, and disease. But if you clap your hands in kirtan, all those lines will go away. It's only in kirtan. It's not here right now. So don't keep clapping me, okay? I got rid of those. Only in kirtan. That was a specific instruction. So Prabhupada also had a very, how to describe it, like a wicked sense of humor. He liked his disciples. He loved his disciples, but he also liked playing with his disciples' enthusiasm. Because we were just like, you know, everything was just so, wow, everybody was just so enthusiastic, especially when Prabhupada was around. So one time they were having a walk, a morning walk. Now this is in Beverly Hills, California. Has everybody heard of Beverly Hills, California? It's where all the movie stars from Hollywood live. Beautiful big houses. Everyone is so rich there. It's money, 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 money. The height of sense gratification, the material world excess right there. Beverly Hills. So Prabhupada is walking down the street. And it's actually in a neighborhood with mansions and gardens and gates and everything you could imagine in a very rich, rich area. Prabhupada's walking and all his disciples are with him. And Prabhupada stops at this one house and he takes his cane and he points at it. And he says, one day we will have a mansion like this for Krishna. And all his disciples went, Jai Prabhupada! Remember, you're really enthusiastic. Jai Prabhupada! Jai Prabhupada! Then Prabhupada took his cane and kept walking. He came to the next huge mansion. Big gate around it. And in the driveway is a Rolls-Royce car. The most expensive car. Beautiful car. Prabhupada takes his cane, points at the car. And he says, one day, we will have a car like this for Krishna. And all the devotees went, and Prabhupada took his cane and kept walking. He comes to the next house, this beautiful iron gate around this mansion, gardens around it, just exquisite, amazing. It looks like the heavenly planets. And down the driveway, running towards the gate, is this great big German Shepherd dog. He runs right up to the gate and stands there like, this is my property, I'm defending it. He's looking at all the devotees. And Prabhupada takes his cane and points to the dog. And he says, one day, we will have a dog like this for Krishna. And all the devotees said, and Prabhupada said, you fool! Why do we want a dog like that for Krishna? So Prabhupada liked to play with the devotees' enthusiasm. He has such a wonderful sense of humor. And I can't think of anything else without cheating, so hold on. This is where I can actually sing. Okay. So Prabhupada's on a flight. He's actually going from Mexico to Venezuela. This is a two-part one. The first part is, Srila Prabhupada is going to Venezuela. His servant, Shruti Kirti, who is now the servant for Srila Prabhupada for the second time, he left, went to Venezuela, and stayed at the Venezuelan temple. So when Prabhupada and his entourage arrived in Venezuela, Prabhupada comes in, he sits on the Vyasa-san, they're doing a nice kirtan. His disciple, servant, Shruti Kirti, is noticing all his old friends. So he's standing next to Prabhupada going, now on the airplane, obviously it's very cold. So Prabhupada was dressed warmly. Venezuela is very warm. So Shruti Kirti is doing his greetings. Everyone's really excited to see Shruti Kirti. Hadn't seen him for a few months. He's really ecstatic, and all of a sudden Srila Kirti feels something hit him in the back of the head. Prabhupada took his socks off by himself. Srila Kirti's service. Srila Kirti didn't do it. Prabhupada took his socks off, rolled it into a ball, hit Srila Kirti in the head with it. Srila Kirti turned around, Prabhupada just... Oh, I was kind of getting into my own thing. I kind of forgot who I am. I'm Prabhupada's servant. Prabhupada reminded him very gently. Well, socks to the head doesn't hurt. Not a big deal. So on this plane, they used to always bring Srila Prabhupada some prashado because he can't eat the airplane food, right? Horrible stuff. They always brought something for Prabhupada to eat. So the plane takes off. Now, what they had this particular time was puffed rice. I love puffed rice. So Srila Kirti would take it out, place the bag of puffed rice in front of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada would eat what he wanted, and then he would allow, at that time, his secretary and his servant to share the remnants. How wonderful is that? Prashado, Maha prashado, from the pure devotee. So Srila Kirti separates it. It's on tin foil. He puts a little on Paramahamsa Swami's plate and a little bit on his plate. Just getting ready to honor this Maha prashadam. And the wait, what do we call it? The stewardess? We still call it the flight attendant. There you go, proper. The flight attendant, Mataji, comes down the aisle. Goes, just reaches into Srila Kirti's puffed rice and starts eating it. She goes, wow, this is really good. What is this? Srila Kirti's like, well, what just happened? She just came and just took my puffed rice. Big handful of it. And he said, well, it's called puffed rice. It's very special because we can't eat the food on the airplane. She goes, oh. Well, you know what I can do for you? You guys want some fruit? I'll go up to first class. I'll get you some fruit. Is there anything else you want? Prabhupada says, hot milk. Oh, no problem. For 3? Yeah, no problem. She comes back with the fruit, hot milk. Srila Kirti's like, what just happened, Srila Prabhupada? He says, oh, women are very simple. They love to serve, too, so there's no problem there. Srila Kirti's like, well, she ate half my puffed rice. He was a little upset. So, years later, and I mean years later, like 10 years later, Srila Kirti is in Los Angeles. He tells this exact story. And a devotee comes up to Srila Kirti and says, can I tell you a story? And he's like, okay, whatever, go ahead. He says, well, I used to live in Venezuela. And we did a lot of Sankirtan, book distribution, where we would go to villages, we do a little Harinam, we distribute some books. So I was taking this Jeep way out in the middle of nowhere. I knock on this door in a house in the middle of nowhere. And this woman opens the door. And on the wall, I can see a picture of Krishna and Prabhupada, Panchatapa. And he's like, whoa, I'm like in the middle of nowhere. And she says, Hare Krishna, why don't you come in? She's got an altar. She's got like every kind of picture from all our pictures, everything. And he's like astounded, his mind is blown. He says, well, what's going on here? How do you know about Krishna? And she says, well, I used to be a flight attendant. I had a little puffed rice one time on a plane from your spiritual master. And the rest is history. Simply 2 handfuls of puffed rice did the trick. Turned her into a devotee. Don't ever minimize the power of prasadam. Prabhupada used to make all the prasadam in 1966 himself. Prabhupada used to serve everybody who came to the temple by himself. Everyone just sat down and allowed Srila Prabhupada to serve him. Swamiji's serving out, we're just going to eat. Swamiji will clean up the plates. Swamiji will clean the pots. Swamiji will do everything. They were all just sitting there enjoying the moment. And Prabhupada would serve some rice, some sabji, some dal, some chapatis. Then he would come back around again, serve more rice. And sometimes they would say, no, Swami, that's enough. I've had enough. He says, have more. And he'd put more on their plate. And he would do it again and again. Have another chapati. No, Swamiji, I can't eat anymore. Have another chapati. Have another chapati. Have another chapati. And they're like, I can't eat anymore. Prabhupada says, one more. And he put it on his plate. And they were just eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. Then one day, Prabhupada did one serving and stopped. And the devotee's like, uh-oh, what did we do? We did something wrong. Swamiji's not serving us anymore. So one of the devotees said, Prabhupada, how come you're not serving seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths? And you just did one time through. Prabhupada says, when you first came here, you were not asking good questions. Now you are asking good questions. Prashadam has worked. Okay. I don't think I want to tell you any more stories. Just in case you decide to come back to Mayapur. I gotta save something, don't I? Right? Now I'm gonna have to write down what I said tonight, because in case you do come back. There's Jivanath. Oh, not again. Same story? No. So, thank you guys. When are we leaving, by the way? Saturday? Oh, you're gonna miss Sunday's Guru Puja. Oh well. Sunday is the day I get to lead Guru Puja in the temple room. And I make everyone dance. And I mean everyone. I don't care who they are, what position they hold, I make everyone sing and dance in the temple room. So you'll miss that. What a shame.
Yesterday was
Oh, that's nothing. The Guru Puja is really the fun one. So anyway, I'll stop right now. Thank you so much. Does anybody want to comment, question? If not, I'm out of here. I'll tell you one other story. This is nobody put their hand up. Prabhupada once did a lecture in San Francisco. And it was to a group of students at a university. And at the end of the lecture, he said, are there any questions? And nobody put their hand up. Nobody. And he turned to Tamal Krishna Maharaj and said, no questions means no intelligence. Any questions? Okay. I mean, if I were you guys, somebody should put their hand up. Come on. No? All right. Thank you.
Most of them are teachers here, and some of them are going to be teachers. So, can you give us some tips how to get the teaching so everything can be yours?
Okay. Now, this is a good question. How do we become better preachers, more enthusiastic preachers? Srila Prabhupada was actually asked this question in Atlanta in 1975. The devotees were distributing many books, more than we ever thought we could do. It was really the height of book distribution. But the devotees felt, how can we do more? We want to know how we can do more. So they asked Srila Prabhupada, how can we do more books? And Prabhupada says, you simply rise early, chant all your rounds, and you will have better book distribution. So really, again, the key is that mantra. It really is the key to everything. You really must try to chant good rounds. Now, good rounds is a very loose term. How do we chant good rounds? Well, the easiest way is by following what Prabhupada gave us, by rising early, right? Because it's so impossible to chant a good round late at night. It really is. It's very difficult. The day is started, there's too much going on, there's so much activity, very difficult. So therefore, rising early is very important. Now for most people who are working, it's not so easy. And then you have to figure out a way to make it easier by, okay, like Prabhupada. Prabhupada, businessman, pharmacist, he would chant 4 rounds before breakfast, 4 rounds before lunch, 4 rounds before dinner, and 4 rounds before taking rest. If he didn't get those 4 done at either interval, he didn't take breakfast, he didn't take lunch, he didn't take dinner, or he didn't go to bed. And that kept him strict and really sincere with his desire to finish the 16 rounds. So for a lot of people, that's the process. If you're a brahmachari living in the temple, no excuse. There's no excuse for not chanting the rounds other than your mind is calling you away from chanting Hare Krishna. If you actually meditate on the fact that Krishna is in his holy name, that he is actually dancing on your tongue when you say his name. And I for the life of me, try so hard to visualize that. And then one day, maybe I will actually see Krishna dancing on my tongue. But if that meditation is there, and you're really sincerely saying, you know, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now you may need to walk. Prabhupada said that too. He says, sometimes I get tired, and I need to stand up and walk. Not that you sit there and get real comfortable and doze off. If you see yourself starting to lose that, get up. What's the problem? Stand up. Shake out a little bit or whatever you need to do. But that's what you have to do. You have to be smart. Chanting with other devotees. What a nice thing to do. I am very blessed here in Mayapur. I chant with two devotees. We sit in the same sort of area. One's name is Jivanath. Has everybody kind of heard of him? He's like an exceptional, amazing devotee. And I get to chant japa with him in the morning. It's very sweet. And the other one you're going to hear tomorrow night. His name is Krishna. He's a very wonderful preacher, and he's an inspiration to me. And these are the two devotees that I chant with every day. I also have the luxury of sitting next to Prabhupada's Murti. So Prabhupada's right there. And it's just, you know, that's why I feel comfortable chanting my rounds, because I have good association in the presence of Srila Prabhupada. I'll tell you one story. There was this devotee, good friend of mine, excellent manager. He was sitting in Prabhupada's room one time, and Prabhupada was doing a little business work. There were some papers on the desk. And this devotee, I can tell you his name is Kirti Raj. He's a wonderful devotee. He's a GBC and all that. Now he's sort of older and just being a very nice devotee. And he was sitting in Prabhupada's room and he started chanting his japa. And he was sitting there going, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he was thinking to himself while he's doing this, Prabhupada's going to hear me. And he's going to think, wow, that devotee is chanting such nice japa. And he was going, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Prabhupada, stop! Chant softly. Kind of shocked him. He was like, oh, yeah, I was kind of just showing off, wasn't I? So we have to be careful. We're not doing this for anybody else's pleasure, the japa. No, it's for your connection with Krishna. So don't just make a show of it. You know, Hare Krishna, Krishna. You know? That's right, chant some japa. We don't just want to make a show of this japa. This japa is the most important thing. It's your connection with Krishna. Otherwise, everything else is useless. Useless. Right? Anything else? So only one person has intelligence? Did the mic pick that up? I'm just teasing with you. It's been a long day, I get it. Oh, okay.
We chant Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. But in the idol, we don't find Rama's idol or Hanuman's idol. Why is that?
And what is the question? Why don't we find Rama?
Rama, Sita, and Hanuman, we don't find the idols in both of them. Why?
Why don't you? What is the question?
Why he's saying that?
Right. You haven't seen Rama deities. Oh, I see. Well, I mean, Rama is very popular in certain parts of India, correct? Oh, Rama is popular in certain parts of India, but not everywhere. And also Prabhupada was asked the question, when we say Rama, is it for Ramchandra or Balarama? And Prabhupada said, it doesn't matter. So if you want to make Rama Balaram, I'm chanting the Balaram, or you just, you know, but they're names of Krishna. And that is the mantra. It could be any mantra we've been given, but we've been giving this particular mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. And so Prabhupada says in that famous record that he produced, they made, he says, you don't need to understand the language of the mantra. Just do it. It's like when you handed the medicine, you don't need to know exactly what's in it, all the side effects. If you just you trust the doctor. If you trust the doctor, you take the medicine. Right? You don't need to quiz him on it, It says 32% chloride. What is that? What's this 5% of da-da-da-da-da? You don't need that. You trust the doctor. You went to the doctor. Trust him. Take the medicine. He'll say cure you. Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya says, this mantra will help you go back to Godhead. Trust Lord Chaitanya. It's really that simple. Put your trust somewhere. You put your trust in Lord Chaitanya. The Maha mantra, the greatest chanting there is. It's the only mantra. How can I chant for 46 years, every day, and enjoy it? Not just do it, but enjoy it. Because there's something there. It cannot be explained. It doesn't need to be explained. Whether what are you thinking about when you're chanting? Prabhupada was asked, should I be thinking of Krishna Leela? No, just listen. Listen to the mantra. It works. That's all we need to believe in. The mantra works. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more? This is one of my favorite stories. Let me just tell this story. Don't lose your question. Because it actually shows a side to Srila Prabhupada. He enjoyed actually, debating with people who thought they were very intelligent. He was asked to go on this radio show in 1970 in San Francisco. The guy's name was Joe Pine. You know this story? Joe Pine show. The devotees tried to talk him out of going because Joe Pine was a really obnoxious interviewer. He tried to pick fights, so there would be some, you said this, that kind of stuff. And that was his goal, was to get the person he's interviewing agitated so that they would argue with him. And then he could have a really good argument and everybody would enjoy his show and the ratings would go up. So Prabhupada says, no, we will go. We will count how many times we say Hare Krishna. That will be our success. So the man starts interviewing Srila Prabhupada. He says, you are from India. What can you possibly teach us? We have our own religions, our own beliefs. You are from a country that has a very high death rate. And Prabhupada said, as far as I can see, the death rate is the same everywhere. 100%. And the guy's like, okay. He kind of was a little taken back, but not completely destroyed. He came back to Srila Prabhupada again. He says, I have read in your scriptures that you say that the earth is flat. Now, we don't say the earth is flat. We say the universe is like a sphere, like flat. But he misread that. But he said that to Prabhupada, you say the earth is flat. What do you have to say about that? And Prabhupada says, well, everywhere I walk, it is. The guy is now floored. His assistant then takes over. Says to Srila Prabhupada, why do you shave your head? And Prabhupada says, why do you shave your legs? And Prabhupada says, better to have a cool brain and warm legs. Now she's floored. She doesn't know what to say. So the guy is now regrouped a bit. He comes back to Srila Prabhupada. One last try to get Srila Prabhupada. He says, what would happen if everybody became a Hare Krishna? And Prabhupada said, it'll never happen. There will always be fools like you. And the guy shut up. And Prabhupada preached for 10 minutes straight. Never happened on this show before. Prabhupada just smashed this guy. So, question. Did you want to ask?
We have been to different places in Mayapur, and we have seen some of the beggars chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, and begging for money.
Yeah.
Whether that is considered as pious or they're doing the Nama Parada.
Well, it's not actually nam aparad. There's a gray area there. Oh, sorry. It's actually not nam aparad because you are chanting. So Prabhupada says there is benefit even if somebody is mimicking the mantra. You know, like, you Hare Krishnas. He says Hare Krishna. There's benefit there. Right? So there's benefit every time you say Krishna. Even if you read on the billboard, it says Rama, like Balarama, the bowling alley. They have them in America. So every time somebody says Balarama, they're making spiritual benefit. Ajamil, Narayan! He's not calling Krishna Narayan, he's calling his son Narayan. He got liberated from that. He goes back to Godhead because he called Narayan. So there's benefit every single time you say the spiritual name of Krishna in different forms. You get benefit. So there's benefit there. Is it pure chanting? No, obviously not. Right? Is it better than not chanting? Yes. Yes, because there's benefit there. Right? A story about that. Devotees used to go out on Harinam quite regularly, every day in the very beginning of the movement. Every day, for hours and hours and hours. One time, in Los Angeles, they used to go to this one spot in front of this guy's store because it was the best intersection. People coming this way, this way, this way. It was very, very busy. So they chant right outside this guy's store, and he hated it. He was a demon. He hated it. He got so agitated. He would come out and yell at the devotees, "Get out of here, you're ruining my business. Go home, why don't you guys get a job? I'm just trying to make a living here and you guys are wrecking everything. Get out of here." And of course the devotee says, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." We don't care. Then the police would come. He'd call the police. "Come on, you guys, you gotta move along. Get out of here, get out of here." The devotees say, "Okay, we're out. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." Down the street we go. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Turn around the other street and come right back. And start chanting again, right in front of this guy's store. And they did this for like a week. Every day. Kick them out, call the cops, turn around, come back, cops come back, they go, and this time they stay away. One day, after a week, the shop owner comes out with a tray with little cups of water. Offers it to the devotees. The devotees are like, "Uh-oh, is this poison? What's in this cup?" They're like, "Nah, I don't think so." So the one devotee walks up to him, "Sir, just curious here. I mean, excuse me for just questioning you, but you don't like us, and you call the cops on us, like, every day, and now you're offering us drinks because we're hot. Could you explain this?" And the guy says, "Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'm agitated. Yeah, this bothers me, and it looks like it's ruining my business. Well, really, it's not, but I go home every night because you guys are here every day. I'm cooking my dinner, and I'm going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I can't get that tune out of my head. I'm going to sleep. I got my head on the pillow. I go, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He says, you guys are driving me crazy. I can't get that song out of my mind. And then all of a sudden I go, what the heck? I kind of like this chanting thing. So here, have some water." And they're like, "Okay. And by the way, you can stay there. It doesn't matter. Business is okay." So the mantra, it works. You may say it doesn't work, but if you're chanting it sincerely, it's like that man. He was chanting sincerely. He couldn't get the mantra out of his head. It became purified. He didn't want to become purified. He wanted to hate the Hare Krishnas. But he kept chanting it, hearing it all day. He was hearing this mantra, going home, chanting in his sleep, chanting when he's making dinner. He couldn't get it out of his mind. That's the Hare Krishna mantra. We don't want it out of our mind. We want to keep it in our mind. We want to be like that shop owner. How many of us are chanting while we're cooking? I'm always chanting. People are always like, "Don't you ever stop?" No, why should I? How else can I remember Krishna? How easy is it? riding on my scooter. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. I say hi to everybody. Hare Krishna, because I'm just chanting. There's no harm there. Everyone I see, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And that's one way of preaching. It's the best way of preaching, the easiest way of preaching. What if nobody here understood English? No translators. And I'm standing up here, about to speak to you. What could I do? I could chant Hare Krishna. And another thing I could do, I can smile at you. And then doesn't that make you feel kind of nice? I'm like looking and smiling at everybody. I'm preaching. That's preaching. I do this with the guests. Everywhere I go, I smile. I say Hare Krishna. That's one thing that everybody understands, especially here in Mayapur, but everywhere in the world. Hare Krishna is everywhere now. And you can say this to anybody. Nobody's going to take offense anymore. Nobody's going to tell you, yeah, Hare Krishna is you know, that doesn't happen. This movement has spread so nicely due to Srila Prabhupada that you can say Hare Krishna anywhere, and it's okay. Especially in India. Come on, you guys. This is your culture. I'm the foreigner. I'm the weird one. Is there anybody who looks like me here? No. I'm the weird one. And I came here. I'm from America. The home of sense gratification. The materialistic lifestyle that can't be beat that everyone in India strives for. Are you crazy? Why do you want to go to America? It's terrible there. Your senses are assaulted every single place you go. Billboards of girls doing this, and people smoking the cigarettes and drinking alcohol, and you know everything about it. It's terrible. Why would you even want to go there? To make money. Make money here. Don't go there. Stay in the association of wonderful devotees. Go back to Godhead. That's the key. That's what we want, isn't it? Now wait, I shouldn't assume. Is there anybody here who really doesn't want to go back to Godhead? Okay, good. You shouldn't be thinking other than, I want to go back to Godhead. I don't want to be in a material body. I don't want to have to do all these material activities like dying and getting diseases, being born again. I don't want any of that. I want to get out of here. How are we going to get out of here? I think Harlila was saying it before. He said, Govinda! I'm going to say, but you know that what Bhaktivinoda says about that when the Western people and the people of India join together and chant, Govinda! Now we've just fulfilled Bhaktivinoda's prophecy. Western devotee with Indian devotees. We've now chanted together. Now I'm getting ready to go. That's right. So here's one last mantra. Now you have to do this with all your heart, and you have to do this with all your legs. That's right. I mean, it's late anyway. You want to stretch out. All right. I'll do this without the microphone. Just to show you what volume you can get to if you really want to. Because I'm actually a really quiet person. Very low key. But I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And I'm going to encourage you to chant really loudly. Before you leave on Saturday, I want everyone here to be heard right now. There are people outside of the samadhi. And if they hear you, they're going to go, what the heck was that? That's what we want. We want to be heard. So, you ready?
Yes.
All right. Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna!
Whoa. Hey, I'm impressed. I think the second time back's the key. You were ready for it that time. That was pretty good. Okay, we can do the whole mantra. I don't even have to repeat it. Just a little bit louder this time, if it's possible. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, I have to get louder too. Hold on. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Krishna Krishna! last questions? Yes.
We are grateful, but we don't have any questions. We are so blessed to hear you, meet you through your Mataji, and I hope everyone will be blessed. And I am happy to meet all these great bhaktas here. And I never knew that Mayapur was this. Real Maya was there. So I'm so blessed, and I hope everyone is happy.
Yes, me too. Me too.
How do you know that you are doing it in the right way and you are elevated in the spiritual journey?
How do you know if you're chanting the right way? Well, actually, this is an American expression probably, but everyone can judge themselves by how you are feeling more spiritual enjoyment in your chanting. When it is like a chore, you can feel like I'm doing something wrong. Prabhupada said that everybody should be feeling spiritual ecstasy by following this process. And I actually base it on that. If I'm actually really feeling ecstatic chanting and doing kirtan and talking to devotees, I know I'm doing something right. So how do we know? And the proof is in the pudding, so they say. You know that one? You've heard that one, right? It's an old one. The proof is in the pudding. So you will actually start to smile when you don't think you should be smiling. Like, what's up with him? We used to get that all the time as devotees. Like, what kind of drugs are you guys doing? You know? I want some of that. Look at this. These guys are just smiling all the time. When you're actually connecting with the holy name, you're connecting with Krishna. And how can you not feel ecstasy knowing you're getting closer and closer and closer? And that is the key. Some devotees will say, like, I've been a devotee now for like 4 weeks. How come I'm not like a pure devotee yet? Well, the process is so different for every one of us. We don't know what kind of walls we put up to separate ourselves from Krishna. We don't know. It could be that there is a giant wall from so many millions of births that every mantra is taking one brick out. Or the wall could be very small. You can be Krishna conscious like that. And when Prabhupada said that, he actually went like that. He snapped his fingers. He said, you can be Krishna conscious like that. So the wall is different for every single person. And that's what we just have to, okay, my wall is a lot bigger than your wall, so I'm going to really be sincere about this chanting. If every mantra is knocking one brick, oh my God, how many bricks do I have in front of me blocking me from Krishna? But know that's the process. Chant Hare Krishna, knock those bricks away. We distribute books in the morning to the guests that come, the pilgrims. And I always tell the distributors, I said, don't be discouraged if they say no. And I give that analogy. They may be one brick away from saying, yes, I'll have it. Or they may be 10 bricks away from saying, I'll have it. But right now, maybe they're saying, no, I don't want. You don't know, but you want to be one of those people who approaches to knock a brick away. Maybe they take. Maybe they're listening to Super Soul. Or maybe they have so many bricks in front of Super Soul that they can't even hear. So, that is the most important thing, is just keep chanting. Chant with all your heart, and gradually you will actually start to feel. You'll see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, right? And when you start doing that, like right now you're smiling. Even with the mask, I can tell you're smiling, right? So when you start smiling, and it's like, why am I smiling? There's really no reason to smile. Hey, I can't help it, I'm smiling. Yes, you're smiling. You're becoming Krishna conscious. Oh my God, you just knocked 3 bricks out. Okay? We're good? All right, safe travels on Saturday. I'm sorry you won't be here for Sunday. I would really like it. Do you guys actually have to stay behind the barriers when you go to the temple?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not really in favor of that.
They don't let us in.
I know.
Some of them have tricks now.
Yeah, you gotta learn how to sneak in. That's the key. I gotta sneak in from there. He knows the tricks. Follow him. He knows how to get in. So anyway, yes, it's such a pleasure meeting you all. And I hope I hope when you come back next time to Mayapur, you can remind me what stories I told you this time. Good. Incredible. Is anybody here chanting 16 rounds? Really? Next time you're all up here and I'm sitting out there. Wow, that's fantastic. Anybody been chanting 16 rounds for more than 1 year? 5 years? Wow, awesome. That's incredible. I see your hand. 7 years. 7 years. You feel a difference? Yes. Do you like chanting on your japa?
Yes,
You do. You look forward to it?
yes,
Perfect. That's the key. That's the key. When we actually enjoy something, we look forward to it. If you don't like it, it's kind of like, I have to go clean the kitchen. I don't want to. But how much energy getting put into it? You're like, what do I have to do this? What if you like cleaning the kitchen? Then you'd be like, all right, I'm going to clean the kitchen. Yeah. So that's the same thing for our japa, for our kirtan, for our association. Put your energy into it. Put in, you get out. You don't put in, don't expect anything good to happen. Don't just go through the motions. Really? Get into it. Really put your whole self into it. What is the harm? Prabhupada says, give up this one life. Just this one life. Give it to Krishna. Go back to Krishna. That's all it takes. One time. You all go back to Krishna. Every single one of you. When you get there, put in a good word for me.
Hare Krishna. Hey, that's picture,
Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki
Okay, I have a small announcement for tomorrow. Tomorrow I just read out something special.